It's me, MrBucketlist.
And I'm back.
Welcome to my first horror documentary. I promise it won't be scary. So I got to the location here in Plant City. Now it was kind of surprising because I was the first person there and I kind of looked around like I see the signs here, but am I at the right location? I just didn't really know what was going on. For the people that are familiar with my documentaries and my channel, for the most part when I'm making these documentaries, usually I'm fighting senior citizens to get front row. This was a little bit different. Either way, I was good with it, so I walked around and toured the place. We were actually asked to be there about 5:30, and people started showing up around 5:15, so it wasn't too bad. Now, this event was different for a couple of reasons. Obviously, this is a horror, haunted type of trail type of thing or whatever, but the big difference with this was a media influencer event. And just knowing that, it was so exciting because, at the end of the day, their goal is to make sure that we get the best footage. And so that's exactly what I was able to do instead of having to sneak cameras and stuff like that. Like usual. Most theme parks and attractions really aren't that camera friendly unless you're actually doing promotional video for them. And that's exactly what this event was for. So I was pretty excited. Not to mention, I didn't know exactly who was going to be there or how many people were going to be there. Well, oh my god, it was packed. And it was so many people that I recognized from YouTube, people that do movie reviews, people that talk about somewhat political stuff, entertainment stuff, like people I just know from the site. This is just such a change of pace from what I'm used to. It was so cool. Now that's where the issue comes in at. So of course, me again, I'm so used to lining up first and being the first in line. I went and got in line about 30 minutes before the gates opened, and I was like, why isn't everybody not getting in line? They're like standing like in this middle area. And then this happened.
So again, thank you, and I hope you guys have fun tonight.
Oh, wow. So this is a pro tip for the rookies out there like myself. Do not get in line, and they call it the switchbacks, the line-up area. Go ahead and stand to the side near the little trail that they say leads to the opening gate. Stand on either side of it. The main reason why is they have a complete pre-show. They have cars, stunts, all type of stuff going by. A headless horse guy, whatever. It was really cool, and I couldn't see any of it because where I was standing at. Now, the only positive thing about standing up in line first was I was actually one of the first people to get in. So, of course, I got to walk in when it was nice and empty before this crowd of people just converged onto this space right here. So that was cool. But at the end of the day, this was a vlogger's event. So any footage I needed, they would have made sure I got it regardless. So that kind of sucked. But, you take what you can get. So initially I just did a quick tour around just to kind of see where everything was located. The cool thing about this place is it's not like a huge theme park, so all your different houses are really kind of just jammed together. You can literally walk from each separate house maybe in about 2 minutes each. It doesn't take long at all. And so that's really great if you want to get in and get out, or if you want to stay for a while and just kind of hang out after you get done with the houses. It's perfect for both. Now, the first house I wanted to try out was this house called The Ripper. It's based on Jack the Ripper, and this is actually the only story that I was familiar with. I think the rest are like original stories. So I was extremely excited to see their take on potentially how this house was going to be. Now, before I get into it, I just want to say usually under most circumstances, you can't record in the houses. But I did learn some things. Obviously, we could record, but I talked to the lady at the door, and her kids were actually like some of the scare actors. So this was actually really cool to know that like people's entire families were like a part of like this experience. It was just really unique compared to like an actual for-profit company like Halloween Horror Nights or Busch Gardens, for example. This is a 501c3.
Watch out for the rip-up.
Now, of course, with this being the first house of the night, before I walked into that door, my heart was just beating and I just had to prepare myself. Here we go. Oh, this house was so good, and it was lengthy. This isn't the full tour. If you want to watch the full tour, I'll leave some links so you can go ahead and watch my full actual walkthrough of this house, but it literally clocked in close to about 10 minutes. I had never been on the trail or any type of house for that freaking long, but it wasn't like 10 minutes of boredom. It was actually really, really good. The makeup, the jump scares, everything was like perfect because it was like really timed out well. It wasn't back to back to back scares. Like it actually had a story that flowed through it. It's hard to explain, but I thoroughly enjoyed this house, and I'm like, wow, like if this is what this haunt is all about, I'm here for it. Now it's on to the second house. Now the only thing about this house that's a little bit different than the rest is this is the only house that we couldn't actually record the house directly. We had to record in selfie style. So basically we had to have the camera facing towards us. Now for me, I had never done that in the house before, and not to mention I actually had like one of those little lights so you can actually see me. And I had no idea how bright that light was. It was a GoPro LED light, and it was very bright and nearly blinded me, and it kind of sucked. Now, of course, that's no fault at all to this location. Obviously, I didn't know what I was doing, but I literally was blind throughout the entire time because I had it too bright, and I didn't know how to like bring it down. At least on the fly, I didn't know how to get it down to the level I wanted to. And so I was like bumping into walls and stuff like that. Here's a quick clip. So eventually I got to the point where I just shut the light off and I just kind of walked through the house regularly. But this house was really cramped, like in a good way. It was like walking through an actual house and like sets and stuff like that. It was very cool. I really enjoyed it. I just wish I hadn't used my camera to start because I kind of missed a lot of it because I couldn't see. But the cool thing was when I was walking in, there was this guy, and a lot of you all probably know him because he's on YouTube. I don't know what his name is, or I'll tag him. But he was walking around with this zombie body on him and like doing selfie styles videos. It was so great. So if you ever watch this video, man, I didn't talk to you when you were there, but that was really one of the best props I've ever seen on a vlogger. That was really cool. Now I went to the third and final house, Aqua de Muerte. Now this was a completely Spanish house, and it was based off like a Spanish type of scary story, horror story. So it was really cool. I really enjoyed it, and the cool thing about it was, at least at this house, I got to do my regular style of filming again. So I got to have the camera face forward instead of on me, so I can actually understand what was going on. I wasn't blind the whole time, so that was pretty cool. Now the one thing I loved about this house, oh man, it's just they had like the typical scare stuff, but it worked really well. So for example, like the priest and the crazy priest and all that, they had that, and then they also had the mannequins. So of course I was like, I don't know which one's fake, which one's real when you're inside the church, so that was scary. The guy was screaming at you from the top of the bridge, and the bridge was rocking back and forth. Unfortunately, I should use my cell phone, just a different camera in general for this one, but I used my GoPro since it was already in my hand with that light, but because it was so dark, you all really couldn't see the finer details. But this house was pretty amazing. I was really happy they allowed us to record it because it was so nice. I really wanted more people to see it, but of course I botched that up. Now, before I went to the hayride, the next thing I want to do is just kind of explore the grounds. So a lot of people were either in the houses, they were on the hayride itself, or they had already left. And so the grounds are actually fairly empty as far as like from the previous crowd that was there when we first got in. So I just want to see the atmosphere. And I mean, this place was nice. I mean, they had all these different vendors for like drinks, food, axe throwing. They also had escape rooms. Now those weren't open when I was there, but they do have 2 escape rooms. It was just a variety of things to do outside of just going to these houses in the hayride, which I really appreciated. Plus, if you wanted to, you can just come there to hang out with your friends and drink and just have a good time. It was really cool. And then the scenery itself, I mean, it just looked completely different at night versus the day, like most parks, but it just felt different because you're like in the middle of the woods, in the middle of nowhere. So it actually felt like like a movie set. It was really hard to explain, but I really enjoyed it. Not to mention all the different scare actors that were like walking around. So we got to see Sir Henry himself. This is him right here. He was really cool. Also, this lady that was like this little stick, and she was like going around scaring people, and the photographer. It was just all different type of sets. And not only that, but even when I was at the Ripper earlier, they were showing a guy was like taking promotional photos. And this is how they get those really good looking photos that you see on Instagram. They use blue lights, UV lights, and things like that. I had never seen that on the cruise ship. I mean, a lot of the stuff that I saw at this particular event was miles ahead of any type of cruise vlog or just cruise in general, just because the scene, it's just a different vibe, a different set of skills. I'll say that. A lot of this stuff was new to me, and I mean, I've been a vlogger for a long time now, so it's pretty cool to see. Now, for me, the main event was this hayride. The main reason why is I had never been in one. And so, I mean, this is a haunted trail. This is known for basically this hayride. And so I was so excited. I actually did it twice. Now, I did it twice for two reasons. One, because I thoroughly enjoyed it. But the second reason why is they have the speaker that almost narrates the story while you're going through it. For whatever reason, it just stopped working. It's so weird. We were in the middle of this hayride. And our driver, he got out the car and someone was screaming like, where's our driver? What's going on? And so this is it right here. But basically, he was checking to see what happened with the speaker, and so apparently it stopped working, so somebody came out the shadows and took it away. But this is just like a compilation of the best parts of the hayride. Check it out. I loved it. So, I mean, just again, this is a non-profit, a 501c3, and just the stuff that they're able to pull off. I mean, the guy, the crazy guy that was like shaking our booth and then ripped that guy's face off, and then that thing that I thought was a bush and it turned around to be a person, and then the lady, the bat lady. There was just so many different things that was just impressive about not only this hayride, but this location in general. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And for those who are curious, I don't know if you saw it earlier, but as far as this hayride goes, there is no actual hay on the trailer itself. You're sitting on benches. They're a lot more comfortable than sitting in some hay, I'll say that. So I hope you all enjoyed my first little mini documentary, my horror documentary. I mean, this is essentially just a review to let you all know what was going on. This event was only a few hours, so I couldn't make my full 60-minute documentaries like I usually do. But again, I hope you all enjoyed it. It's MrBucketlist, and I'll see you soon.